Indonesia is one of the high context country. In this session, I'll talk about Indonesia as high context country. High context itself is a way of communicating not only from words but also a combination of body language and has different meanings due to status or degree and emphasis of speech intonation. Indonesia may be said to be represented by Javanese who are characteristically in the high category in communicating, namely being able to communicate only with the body language of interlocutor who already understand or differences in the use of vocabulary to speak according to the interlocutor, whether the person is above or below him, and the same sentence with different emphasis can also be interpreted variously. Down below are some examples. 1. When they meet familiar people on the street, they just nod their heads slowly and smiling to this person. Meeting people who are older as a sign of respect. Orang Indonesia, jika mereka bertemu dengan orang yang mereka kenal atau mereka yang mereka segani, maka mereka akan sedikit membungkukkan badan dan kepala sebagai tanda bahwa mereka memberikan sebuah hormat kepada orang tersebut. Number 2, when they arrive at home of saying goodbye for go to anywhere, they also kissing hand of their parents or the elder people on those house. Jadi ketika orang Indonesia tiba atau akan pergi dari rumah, mereka akan mencium tangan kedua orang tua atau orang yang dituakan di dalam rumah itu. Seperti halnya jika tidak hanya berlaku di rumah sendiri, namun ketika pergi ke rumah kerabat, rumah teman, mereka akan mencium tangan kedua orang tua dari teman mereka ataupun orang yang dituakan di rumah itu. Number 3, there are many coffee shops in Indonesia which is called as angkringan, where the visitors might sit down on the floor. When the visitor have to walk and passing the other visitors who had sat down, these visitors might lower their shoulder and body as a sign that they excuse themselves to the visitor who had sat down. Orang Indonesia ketika mereka melewati seorang atau sekumpulan orang yang berada duduk di bawah dan mereka berjalan melewati mereka, maka orang tersebut akan permisi kepada orang-orang yang duduk di bawah tersebut dengan cara mereka sedikit membungkukkan badan, atau mereka juga akan mengatakan permisi. Number 4, Indonesia is one of the countries with the largest number of smokers. When waiting for the bus at the stop, usually to start conversation, the smokers will offer a cigarette to the person to be talked to who is beside them. Orang Indonesia kebanyakan adalah seorang perokok. Ketika mereka sedang mengantri ataupun menunggu sesuatu, dan kemudian mereka tidak hanya sendiri, melainkan di sebelahnya adalah orang yang juga menunggu, maka yang dilakukan oleh salah satu orang yang biasanya ingin membuka percakapan adalah dengan menggunakan rokok, yaitu dengan menawarkan rokok kepada sebelahnya. Hal ini sudah sangat banyak dilakukan oleh orang Indonesia. Bagi mereka,
Continuing our group presentation, our next material is Japan as high context country. Japanese culture is considered high context. It means that Japanese people rely more on nonverbal cues than through spoken and written words to communicate meaning. The Japanese communication style reflects the value placed on maintaining harmony. They do not do anything that might cause embarrassment and thus loss of face for themselves or a person they talking to. Because of this, most interactions are defined by certain degree of vagueness and ambiguity. Simply put, Japanese tend to maintain or keep a good environment of communication, so each person that talking to each other not feel discomfort by talking to another person, or maybe keeping a harmony. Next, Japanese people commonly do first maintain a passive expression while talking. This may commonly do in Japanese, but a foreigner may be find this is new for them. This passive expression could interpret a negative meaning like discomfort by talking to someone. Jadi passive expression ini bisa memberikan interpretasi bahwa orang Jepang ini nggak nyaman berbicara dengan kita. Itu berlaku bagi orang luar Jepang, bukan orang Jepang. Mungkin orang Jepang sudah biasa dengan hal itu, tapi tidak dengan orang asing dari luar Jepang. Second, implicitly showing negative or positive emotions with a smile. Smiles may have a wide range of meanings, including to express happiness or agreement, or to mask feelings of anger, displeasure, or grief. Jadi di Jepang itu tidak menunjukkan secara eksplisit negatif atau positif emosi, tapi mereka secara halus menunjukkan kedua emosi tersebut dengan senyuman. Jadi senyuman itu bisa menunjukkan ekspresi senyum yang sebenarnya, senang, atau bisa untuk menutupi kesedihan, ketidakpuasan, atau duka atau rasa marah. Jadi hal yang sering dilakukan oleh Jepang nomor 1 dan nomor 2 itu dapat merujuk ke vagueness and ambiguity. Third, when negative emotions are expressed, they are done so subtly. Negative expressions may include inhaling through clenched teeth, the tilt of a head, or the scratching of an eyebrow. Jadi negatif emosi yang ditunjukkan tidak secara eksplisit seperti mengetuk-ketuk benda, melempar benda, atau menaikkan suara tapi dengan menghela napas, memiringkan kepala atau mengusap alis. So when Japanese people do this in front of you, that means they showing a negative emotions. Next, traditionally people in Japan place great importance on physical space. They do not like to be crowded or touched by strangers. Direct eye contact is considered as an invasion of privacy and disrespectful for a long period of time. Uh, Walaupun sering di tempat-tempat yang ramai seperti kereta, tapi mereka memiliki toleransi walaupun akan bersentuh-sentuhan, namun mereka sebisa mungkin orang Jepang itu menghindari kontak mata dengan melihat ke arah kaki mereka atau ke atas kepala orang lain. Sebisa mungkin menghindari kontak mata. Next, the Japanese rarely decline or refuse directly. Instead, they will reply, "It is inconvenient" or "It is under consideration." So the Japanese not explicitly saying no or "I refuse your offer," but instead they will reply, "It is inconvenient" or "It is under consideration." Jadi dengan berkata seperti itu mereka sebisa mungkin membuat Anda untuk tidak merasa tidak nyaman setelah menolak apapun yang ditolak dari orang lain. Next, they will laugh and cover their mouths when feel embarrassed, saying "I'm sorry" and "excuse me" or "sumimasen" in Japanese frequently is considered polite. Jadi orang Jepang itu udah pasti kayak sedikit-sedikit "I'm sorry", "sumimasen" tuh. Jadi itu untuk menghindari atau menutupi awkwardness mereka dalam berkomunikasi. So that's all the material from me. Into the next material.
Okay, my name is Faiza Rajin Fatah, and today I would like to explain about Canada as low context country. So, as one of the countries that is included into low context culture country, Canada has explicit communication culture. It means that every single thing should be said or written to be known or understood. So what it means by explicit communication is a direct communication. That is why Canadian and other people in low context country tend to be blunt. The nonverbal communication in Canada also can be clearly understood. They do not rely on relationship in doing business. And last, as every low context culture country, Canada also has the culture to be on time. So they believe that time is money. The example of Canadian verbal and non-verbal communication. So the first example, when they set a time for a meeting and say 9 a.m., then it means everyone must have already came that time. So they do not tolerate for coming late. This is what I mean by they are believe that time is money. And the second is modern Canadian children are permitted to be relatively outspoken and independent from a young age. They may talk to the adults even even to their teacher and parents, in the same casual way they do to their friends. For example, they may call their parents and the teacher uh, by their name, like John or Mario, and something like that. That is a common thing in Canada. Third, there are some people that should be given the higher politeness from others. Elders over the age 70, that is called senior citizens, and people with formal authority like police officer. Even though there are rules saying that people can disobey them when they act improperly. So that casualty has an exception. And the exception is two. The first is elders over the age 70, that is called senior citizens. And the second is people with formal authority. Next is there are some gestures that people should not do in Canada. So this is the non-verbal communication. The first is raising the middle finger. So this gesture is known as the extremely rude gesture even in other low context country like America and UK. It literally means fuck you. So it's extremely rude and this is prohibited. And next is doing thumbs down. This is less rude than the first one, but this is still rude. It means this that you are disagreeing something. Next is placing elbows on the table while eating with open mouth, talking with the full mouth, yawning without covering it, and pointing or staring at strangers for a long time. So there are something that you should not do in Canada because this all very rude gestures. And the last is when Canadian is going to sneeze, they will say excuse me before sneezing. Then people around them are supposed to say bless you. They also should cover their mouth or their nose when they are sneezing. So this is uh, something that they usually do. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you very much for listening. The next presentation is about America, and I will give the time and place to the next presentation.
Okay, the next is America as low context. Okay, the last is American verbal communications. Americans are very direct communicators. They tend to convey their entire message verbally, paying less attention to body language. People are expected to get to the point. This does not mean courtesy is disregarded in communication, but it does mean that Americans may sometimes miss nuance such as underestimate in conversation or some types of humor, for example, subtle sarcasm or ironic statement. As we can see usually on TED Talk, Americans speak in front of an audience for less than 20 minutes. Jadi mereka itu orang Amerika suka kalau bicara itu ya langsung to the point gitu loh, jadi nggak berbelit-belit. Lalu, in America, swearing is a natural thing. If they don't like something or are just joking, they mostly use swear words to the other person. Jadi kayak lebih mengumpat, ya seperti itu. In America, they use English with an American accent. This accent is also widely used by foreigners who learn English. And last is Americans sometimes grow uncomfortable when social chat is punctuated with long periods of pause or silence and often try to fill the gap in conversation. Jadi mereka itu nggak seperti orang Jepang ya yang lebih suka diem gitu. Mereka itu lebih suka kalau ada percakapan. Jadi ya kayak ngomong aja gitu. American nonverbal communication. Usually Americans, when they meet their relatives, will immediately hug them. Orang Amerika kalau ketemu teman atau kalau ketemu keluarga dari jauh tuh mereka tuh ya langsung meluk gitu. Kalau orang Indonesia kan salaman, tapi kalau orang Amerika tuh biasanya meluk sama cipika-cipiki. Americans love the sun. Usually they go to the beach wearing only bikinis and underwear. American people lie freely. It is proven that there are many who use marijuana, free sex, drinking alcoholic beverage, and like to go to the clubs. Jadi orang Amerika tuh suka hidup bebas gitu. Jadi mereka itu pakai narkoba, tapi nggak semuanya ya. Terus free sex itu dilegalkan di sana. Lalu minum-minuman beralkohol sama suka pergi ke klub, terutama anak muda. Americans are ignorant in the sense that they don't care about other people's appearance and they don't care about other people's business either. Orang Amerika itu nggak kepo kayak orang Indonesia, jadi mereka itu nggak peduli gitu, nggak peduli misal lihat orang di jalan pakai pakaian warna-warni dari ujung rambut sampai ujung kaki, ya mereka ya nggak peduli, ya dibiarin aja gitu, ya nggak ditegur nggak diapa, soalnya itu kan bukan urusan mereka, jadi di sana sangat menjunjung privasi seseorang dan juga ya nggak peduli sama orang lain. Americans love celebration. It is evident that there are various kinds of celebrations such as Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, Halloween, President's Day, Memorial Day, and others. Jadi orang Amerika itu suka perayaan kayak Valentine's Day. Jadi mereka ngasih sesuatu ke pasangannya kayak coklat, bunga, dan lain-lain. Thanksgiving, Halloween, jadi mereka turun ke jalan atau sekedar mengetuk biasanya anak-anak kecil tuh mengetuk pintu tetangga pas Halloween itu, terus mereka biasanya ngasih permen atau coklat ke anak-anak tersebut. Lalu President's Day, Memorial Day, and others. Okay, that's all for us. Thank you. If you found many mistakes, please forgive us. And last, I say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.